Hey, good evening, everybody. Just checking back in. Uh, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this George Floyd stuff, more updates. It's a lot of stuff I dug into, and the situation has probably gotten a little worse. I mean, a little bit worse, a lot worse than last time. Definitely looked at some stuff, interesting stuff with Killer Mike, stuff that he said. And listened to a lot of different other people about this stuff, and it's just a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of cities and are taking and protesting and looting, and now it's becoming worldwide. I don't know if Japan. I think it's Japan's doing it for a different reason, but they're doing it. Germany's doing it. More different other countries are starting to do it. So this thing is really big. These riots. So I watched different takes from different people about these riots. I watched a video where a guy was justifying destroying property. And I watched other different people talk about the looting and the riots and the purpose of doing it. Some people think that the riots and looting, especially the looting part of it, is because they're trying to hit the pockets of these big businesses, right? And people got to understand that they're these businesses, especially places like Target, AutoZone, these big corporations, they have the insurance policies on these places. So if you damage the stuff, it's really purposely probably set up that way to destroy so they can get insurance claim. All right. So talk about a little bit about finances. So I'm also been studying IULs, life insurance policies. Some of these corporations, well, not some, most of these corporations use these type of insurance policies, index strategies. Basically, they're taking the money that they invested, no tax. And if you get an insurance claim on top of also having insurance to back up your property or your business, they just take that money right out and they just use it to rebuild. So although you're trying to prove a point that you're trying to use a utilitarianistic approach and you're trying to do it for the greater good, you're taking the risk of burning down a building. You're taking a risk and everyone's on the same calls and you're trying to hit the pockets of these corporations. People feel like that they should be standing, if they're in that neighborhood and they are supporting if we're consumers, African Americans purchasing goods and services from these places, they should be standing with us during this time. But people don't realize that it's a setup. And again, we talk about media, we talk about mainstream media, and there's a lot of stuff that's not reported. This stuff is not in the news. So what you don't know can hurt you. So that's why I feel like I understand that people's mad and frustrated. As I said before in the previous video, you feel like you got to take it out on these businesses, but you're hurting yourself, and you're also setting yourself up for getting attacked or arrested or even shot. All right. And it's been a couple of incidences where business owners, those who are not like the AutoZone targets, they're actually mom and pop places or places where they're just surviving, and you're vandalizing and you're looting these places, and they defend it and they kill you. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to you not only burning the buildings down, you're not only vandalizing, but also you're stealing and looting. Looting and stealing and vandalism doesn't contribute to the cause. You're just adding extra stuff on top of it. You're pretty much going to martial, pretty much you're going to have martial law, and you're going to have these police be militarized, and you're going to pretty much start shooting and killing. Trump already stated that. So Killer Mike was saying that we as a people, we have to mobilize, strategize, and execute, in so many words. I'm just paraphrasing. Having a plan to be able to come up with ideas to actual long-term solutions, or something we can put in place to stop this from happening again. In the city of Atlanta, he mentioned about a citizen review board. He said, bring it back. So obviously Atlanta doesn't have a citizen review board committee. This is like I said before in my previous video, if you go back and watch the citizen review board review that I've done, this is how we can start. This is where we can start to police our communities. We can police the police using the citizen review board. There's a purpose for it. It has use. And if you go back to the video and watch it, you can understand what's the purpose of a citizen review board and how important it is to have one. Can help start having these things in place, having a citizen review board to investigate the policies and procedures and administrative policies of a police department. They can start looking at these processes and see how can we help with the training, not so much the training, but just help review these policies to hold officers accountable that step outside of the guidelines that they've been taught to them in the policies through the academy. Citizen review boards can also investigate stuff that's going on that's not reported by the news. Citizen review boards can have stuff set in place to police the police in case there are people that's stepping out of pocket. I mentioned last time about how bystanders can intervene, and it was I put it on my Facebook page. A lady, it was a couple years ago, where she stood by and watched someone was getting arrested, and cops are drawing not only 9mm pistols and Glocks, they were pulling out big weapons for this one person, and she was really hysterical and crying, but she was standing by with courage to make sure that this young African American man didn't get gunned down in public. She was really afraid, and the lady was telling her to move, but she was standing there and saying that her boyfriend died the same way, and she was really putting her life at risk, and she really was going to stand there and see. And I was right; I could feel it, because literally the guns was pointed at the individual, and she was standing right there recording. But the officers came, they cuffed him, and they brought him to the vehicle or whatever, and she was watching even then. And the officer tried to comfort her and tell her, hey, we just need this protocol and procedure. But this is the stuff I was telling y'all before, that we need to police, stand by, all right, and be able to try to help people from making decisions that can cost them their lives. Now, I've talked to someone about this, and they mentioned to me that everyone doesn't have the same courage to do so. Everyone doesn't know. It was a lady mentioned, spoke to a woman, and she mentioned that in the neighborhood, it was a grandmother intervened with that and tried to stand by, and they ended up a shootout. She ended up getting killed. So I want to clarify, within reason, you need to step, if you can do it within reason, and you feel you can handle the situation, by all means. If you can't physically intervene, verbally, try to do something within reason, because a lot of people think, a lot of people don't get involved because they feel like that they can get killed or they're afraid to deal with the police because of the repercussions of them. So, but within reason, try to step in. Protests in D.C., Atlanta, San Jose, New York, Los Angeles, Germany. These is probably many other places, Minneapolis. It's good that we're standing up together as a whole, but like I said before, the vandalism and looting is not needed. That doesn't help. So please, people, I'm just a little guy, not known, but I stand with all the others saying, please, just protest, but don't loot, don't steal from your own neighborhoods. I understand you think you're trying to make a statement to hit the pockets, but you're really not. Because at the end of the day, that stuff can be replaced. But those who's getting arrested, those who's getting shot, homeowners, even store owners or business owners that they're surviving, struggling, and you're breaking into their businesses and trying to take, and they shoot you and kill you, that's on you. You don't have to loot and vandalize to get a point across. All right, you don't have to steal to get your point across. It's not contributing to the growth and the calling that we're trying to put out to the world about what's going on. You gotta understand too, man. Police, they're gonna protect their own. It's a code that's established with the police. I think I heard someone talking about how police need to be able to step to that individual, those you see it, but it's a lot of politics within the organization itself. You got to think about these officers where if you jeopardize trust and you find out that you're a type of rat or a tail or whatever, it's going to be hard to get help when needed. You're gonna get on that one call, and that officer you told on, if it finds out that you are a rat, or you're not protecting the badge internally, when you get into that code that you need help, guess what? They ain't gonna help you. So people understand the dynamics of working as a police officer, and sometimes a lot of them, they stick together because they're gonna need each other one day. And it's a tough environment. I've been in it, so I know. But you got to be able to still stand on what's right. If anything, pull the officer to the side, and let them know that, hey man, this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? But it takes courage, and it takes a trend, and it has to start. It can't just be that alone, because a lot of officers probably won't step up and say something because of not getting the help they needed, or because they're new. A lot of times you're a new officer, you ain't gonna get no respect anyway. So if you're a rookie and you're trying to tell somebody what to do, what's right and wrong, and they've been doing the force for 19 years or 10 years, they're gonna look at you and laugh. They're gonna tell you whatever. So it's gonna be needed more to put stuff in place. That's why citizen review boards is one thing. Bystander intervention, community support within each other. Going to the congressman, voting can't. A lot of people feel like voting isn't important. It has its place. I feel like voting alone is not going to be enough, but it has its place, and you still need to go to the polls. You still need to do your research on your candidates, especially when, and not just the president. People just think it's just the president level. You got Congress you need to vote for, because they the backbone. The Democratic, the Liberal Party, the left wing, all those Democrats, Republicans, those get voted to. Congress, Senate, House, all that stuff gets votes. So you need to vote for them. Your local city council, your governor, your sheriffs. You have different echelons, mayors. These people are important for that jurisdiction you're living in. If you're living in, especially major cities, metropolitan areas, suburban areas, you need to vote for the local and jurisdictional offices. You need to vote for those council members. Governor is very important. You got to see what their values are. Prosecutors and judges, they require votes. So you got to look at what they're doing, and especially in cases like these where, like stuff like what happened to George Floyd and Fidel Castro and Armin Arbery and all these different individuals, a lot of individuals are getting innocently killed. This falls on the district attorneys and the prosecutors and all this stuff. These people get votes. So you can do your job and do your research, and then go and vote for the people that are going to do something about these situations. And then once you focus on the local and state, then you can start moving towards president, Congress, your Secretary of Education. All these different echelons need to be taken into consideration, and just don't hone in on just the president, but you got to look at everything else. Voting is important. It has its place, but that's not enough. Voting is not enough. We got to establish other barriers and other boundaries just to keep this thing covered. I mentioned bystander intervention, which is if you see someone getting arrested, within your reason and power that you can do, try to make the situation less difficult with the police. If nothing you can do, talk to them, work, because a lot of times they're fearful and they're angry and they're scared. So when police come in, especially nowadays, police scares a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you're young, youth, they automatically react in fear. And fear is going to turn to aggression, and aggression is going to turn into something else. And that's what to give them a reason to act the way that they do. So if you see that, you need to try to de-escalate it the best you can within reason. If you can't, get your camera phone out. The best tool that we have in rights is the camera phone. It's a camera phone, because you can get it on tape. You can get it on your phone. And you can send that to wherever you need it to get the exposures needed if something's done injustice. Make sure you get names of these officers. Make sure that you know your amendments. You know what your Second Amendment is, your First Amendment. Know what your Fifth Amendment is. I went over these amendments as videos as well. You know these things. You know about the exclusionary rule. You know that they cannot stop and frisk you versus Terry versus Ohio. These are things that you need to know. So when they try to do it, you know the laws and say, okay, no, you can't stop and frisk me for whatever need PC or probable cause to do so. That doesn't mean you need to be disrespectful. Doesn't mean that you got to be all aggressive with the police, because the more aggression, especially in this case in times, it's gonna understand that police officers are people too, and they can take it to the next level and use their badge as a weapon. So respect, try to know your stuff, know what you can and cannot do, and get your camera phones out. Have someone police the police. It takes everybody. It ain't about color no more. Everybody has to pitch in on this. Everybody got to see. If you see something out of line, you know good and well that they're doing something wrong. You need to be tried to say something. Don't just keep driving. Don't just keep walking, because guess what? It could be you next. It could be you next, and then you will want somebody to step in and make sure somebody's phone is on this individuals and watching them and getting their names and getting their faces on camera. So if something goes down, you can forward that over to the next, whoever you need to forward it over to, so we can get this exposure. Because the more exposure, the more that this continues to happen. And one thing I can say is that the more attention it's getting, and the more this keeps happening, the more pressure that people's going to get, and it's more going to keep changing the culture. This is how the culture has to change. More pressure through media, more camera phones. You know what I'm saying? More people holding these officers accountable. They are doing the things they're supposed to be doing. And it's going to get to the point where, although it's a code with the police officers are going to probably get tired, because guess what? As a police officer, you're the one that's doing good. You're going to have to pay because of what somebody else has done. All the officers in the whole entire United States and even the world is going to have to pay for what Officer Derek Chauvin has done. What Officer Toy Tao and the other two officers has done. All the good officers got to pay now, because of he's doing what he did. So eventually, officers, you're going to get tired of it. If someone in your police department is in your unit is doing jacked up stuff, you're going to get tired of getting blamed for something somebody else has done, and you're going to have to start saying something about it. You're going to start saying something about it. You're going to start talking to these officers, and you're going to start getting them in line. So when we out here, y'all in the streets, working, you won't be doing stuff out of pocket. It's going to become that type of culture. It's going to be very hard to be a police officer now, because the scrutiny is going to be so hard that it's going to be like eggshells until people learn to do the stuff by the book, have that second person integrity, be able to take care of business. And what it's also going to do is I did a research paper on it. It's going to also could soften the police structure too, because there's some criminals that needs to be put down and locked down. Not so much abused and wrecked up. I ain't talking about, the way that, all these other people get treated. I'm talking about they need to be caught and brought to justice. But if a police officers are scrutinized and they're put into a box because of all this is going on, it's going to limit the ability to police. So that's the other side that people don't really think about. Although it's wrong what they did, right? And it's going to require reform. And being able to really, let's hone in on how can we change policies and administrative procedures. The other side of the coin is it's going to soften the police ability to police. And those criminals, they're going to see that and they're going to say, well, these officers can't do A, B, C, and D because of the reform. And then it's going to cause a place where officers can't really, or hands are tied and they can't really do their jobs. So we got to look at everything. This is why it's important that officers do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it, because if they do, then you want these rules and regulations going to be put in place, and it's going to make it harder for you to do your job. That's what it's going to. And the way that it should be somebody checking the police and making sure that, hey, you shouldn't be putting your knees on people's necks at all. Anything. It's other ways and other training tactics. And if you do have to do it because the officer is aggressive, as is stated in the training, as in stated in the policy and procedures of the Minnesota Police Department, the Minneapolis Police Department, and they say actively use this technique to get to deal with aggressive suspects that have been arrested. But once that person's down, you take their knees off. You don't follow the rules, and you go to the next level. Then this is where the accountability comes in, and this is where you get scrutinized. The policies and procedures. It shouldn't be officers sitting and getting reprimanded and disciplined and let go within the department internally, because if you got cases of police brutality or aggressive policing in any form, and you just get slapped on the wrist, you want to think it's cool to do. That's a failure on the internal administration part of the police department. It's a failure on the superiors to, hey, look, you got 18, 19 citations. we gonna send you some. We gonna do some refresher remedial training. We gonna put you at a desk and you gonna do some remedial training. We gonna put you somewhere else where you can't get out there and get all these citations. Not just keep putting you back on the street, and now you killed somebody because you let this department let it go and put it under the rug, and now you killed someone now unjustly, and injustice, and now the whole world is reacting to it, and you're on camera with your face on it, with your knee into this man's neck. You on camera. There's no lies. So you have to do the right thing. Integrity. It's coronavirus. You got the pandemic. You got all this going on in the world, and this really exposes. And I said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. People don't. It's the end times, and this is why people need to be in Christ. If you don't believe in Christ, if you don't believe in God, I mean, religion as a whole, you need to be praying, interceding on the guidance of the Most High, and see where He's going to guide us individually. Praying for our leadership, praying for the family of George Floyd, for one. Pray for all the family of everyone that's lost at the hands of a police officer. But also, you know what I'm saying, finding ways and strategic strategies, like Killer Mike said, strategy and mobilization and execution, being able to find ways to help make this better, because prayer works by faith and taking action. Faith without works is dead. You have to take action. So we all need to find a way to make sure we can police our communities and police better than what we're doing. I mentioned citizen review boards. If you don't have one in your area, it should be able to find ways to start one. Have a group meeting. Get with somebody that's done it before. Try to establish some type of neighborhood watch citizen review board. See if one can be start locally in the area. Start one, maybe a national one or something that is in the city of a city or area that you live, and start a citizen review board, because this is how one big thing that's going to be able to help with policing the police and having to have some type of accountability and advocate for our communities and for the people that live in them. That's all I have. I'm just going. It's a lot of media attention still. I know it's been a few days. He's been charged for third-degree murder and manslaughter. A lot of people still not happy with that. I agree as well. All officers should be held accountable. It's not just Derek Chauvin, Officer Chauvin, but it's also all the officers that are involved. They should be held accountable. It should be some more charges being filed. I know the case is still being worked on, but we decided to continue to stand by and just let the FBI and let all the agencies do what they need to do. The investigators, they all need to do their jobs and get the evidence and continue to review and find ways to, convict all the other officers. But I agree that all officers that are involved need to be processed and convicted. Like I said, the riots and everything else in between, please stop burning down your homes, because, again, this is a pandemic still going on. You're still going to need stuff. You got people still got to work. You got essentials. You know what I'm saying? COVID-19 ain't over. COVID-19 is this pandemic is still going on. Cases are still going up. And by people out here looting and stealing products, you're taking away from the community, and you causing issues to where now, if something is needed, or if you burnt down the Target or robbed or broke the glass windows, now you shut the business down. How are you going to go and get what you need if you need it? Everybody don't have a car. Everybody don't have the opportunity to get out and go to another area to get their essentials. You have it in an area that you're living in. If you're 5 or 10 blocks away and now you got nowhere to go, guess what? Now you got to find a way to get the essentials that you need, because now people are looting and destroying and burning down business. So it's a pro and a con, and it's more of a con because at the end of the day, no business is got insurance. Check right off, build it back up, and go back to work. So you really are, I understand the calls and you trying to hit the pockets, but you're really not hitting the pockets, because that's what life insurance policies are for. That's what index strategy policies are for. They're there to replace, take a loss. They were here to replace it back. That's what the purpose of the insurance. So when you think of that context, are you really doing anything? Are you really damaging? Are you taking a risk to your life and others? Because all you got to do is take one police officer. You see a lot of snipers on the roof to shoot you and you're done. You don't take them on a business owner to say, you know what, you're not gonna come in here and take my livelihood because that's all they have. They spend many years investing in the business, and you go and try to take something from them, and you breaking windows and you tearing down their property, and they shoot and kill you. Then that's you died in vain. You died with no reason to die because you want to kick in somebody's business and that just worked hard for years. It's not solving anything. So I wish people would really think about, you know what I'm saying, the consequences of the actions, because, you know, end of the day, I get it. I understand you're trying to prove a point and it's anger and you mad and you're getting tired of police brutality. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And I in a way, you know what I'm saying, I understand that. I understand you think by tearing down the pockets of the rich or the wealthy, you're thinking you're winning, but you're really not. And it's not smart to go ahead and burn down buildings and loot and rob and steal out of the stores. Although insurance does cover it, that still doesn't mean that it's right to go in and take the products and steal and loot and rob. Just, you know what I'm saying? And you put your life at risk. So I hope these updates, you know what I'm saying, and different perspectives help. I'm sure there's more to come. There's going to be more information that's going to outdate what I'm saying. But this is something I want to share in my heart because, again, we got to strategize, mobilize, and execute. We got to be out here. We got to do stuff. Doing your census. Go get your census done. You know what I'm saying? Vote. Don't just vote alone. That's only one side of it, but vote. And then, you know what I'm saying, start putting things in place. If you see somebody out there and you know the police going to take them down and they getting aggressive, they getting riled up, try to attempt to stop them, and you're within reason. Find ways to help us stay from getting killed every single, because it's a lot of stuff that's underreported. The media only gets what they want that gets ratings. The media only shows what they wanted to see to get ratings. We all know that. So there's probably a lot more that's going on, and that just hasn't been made the news. So if you see it, try to stop it. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things I can contribute to say at least something we can do to hopefully police ourselves and police the police at the same time. Get them calm. Get them, if they committed a crime and they know they did, they need to get them calm and get them in custody and hopefully go from there. But if as you're doing it, you're getting them on camera, you're getting officers' names, you're zooming in on faces, you're getting every information details you can. So you can, if you're not entering the investigation, that barrier, you know, you're not interfering with a crime, get that stuff on tape, and if needed, forward it to where you need to forward it to. The media always going to take it. As long as you get that stuff on camera, that media is going to eat it up. So if something's out of line, and the officers, just like it did with George Floyd, that when that camera, that whoever recorded it went to the media or wherever it went, it ate it up, and that's why it's so big now. So if you continue to get that, use your First Amendment rights, and you continue to have freedom of speech and freedom to record and get stuff on tape, the media will eat it up. I guarantee you. It gets ratings, 3.5 million viewers. So if you're recording and something's going down, get it on tape. So that's all I have. I might do another update depending on how it is. I may not. Please comment. Please share. As always, thank you for tuning in. Website is www.rebuildingcommunitytrust.org. Those who's been tuning in, I appreciate it. As always, those who are new, welcome. Please check out all the other videos I've done. If you got, want to know about citizen review boards, or you want to know about racial profiling, or if you want to know about what's going on, as far as any other amendments or stuff that you want to do or want to know, please go to the videos on YouTube, Facebook, Rebuilding Community Trust, under my name, Daryl Brooks. Wherever you want to look under it as, you'll see the videos and you'll see the content there. Please leave comments, share. Thank you. Please be safe out there.